Good evening, and thank you all for coming. My name is Nafaila. I'm a member of the Dearborn PTA. That was our president, Nabil Talaya. And the Dearborn PTA Council decided to put on this event because we feel deeply for the families in Oxford. So here's a message from our PTA board. Good evening and welcome in this somber event as we gather here tonight to remember the lost lives a year ago at Oxford High School. The tragedy that struck the Oxford community was not only felt in Oxford, but across the state and the nation. Their children are our children, and the tragedy they suffered continues today. This event was planned to take a few moments to remember those lives lost, the community in mourning, and to reflect on the fact that school shootings and threats are an ongoing epidemic in our society. Thank you all for coming, and right now we'd like to welcome Mr. Mustin and on behalf of Dr. Maleko.
Thank you, Nafaila. Dr. Maleko sends his deepest regrets for not being able to be here this evening, but asks that I share how much he appreciates the PTA Council for organizing this event. He also sends his personal thanks to the students who are here tonight and for those who will be taking part in tonight's event. Of course, he is also very grateful and thanks the City of Dearborn, Mayor Hammoud, Chief Shaheen, Chief Murray, for the incredible partnership that we have and the cooperation and the relationship that plays such a huge role in keeping our schools safe. On behalf of Dr. Maleko, our Board of Education, and the entire Dearborn Public Schools, we appreciate the PTA Council for organizing this memorial to honor the memory of Hannah, Tate, Madison, and Justin, and to remember all of the victims of the tragedy in Oxford. However, it is an event we hope we will never have to hold again. We shouldn't have to come together to remember the tragic loss of young, innocent lives that held so much promise and had so much yet to give. We shouldn't have to come together to remind one another that violence is not an answer to solve problems. We shouldn't have to come together to draw awareness for the need to recognize and remove the stigma associated with mental health. We shouldn't have to come together to recount the horrific events that have occurred at concerts, nightclubs, places of worship, or in our schools. We shouldn't, but we do. We do because the calm voices of reason and compromise need to be heard and need to stand out from the noise and rhetoric that keeps us divided and keeps us from solving problems. We do because we know that standing together as a community with care and compassion in our hearts, united by a common goal, is the only way we can stop talking and take the action needed to put an end to these senseless acts of violence. We do because we want to show our support for all of the students, staff, and parents who suffered the trauma of the tragedy that occurred just 1 year ago today. We do because we support the entire Oxford community and pledge our commitment to stand strong with Oxford. Police, schools, parents, students, we can't stop this violence alone. I ask that we continue to work as one community, continue to communicate, and keep each other safe so that together we will never need to gather for another memorial or candlelight vigil again. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Mayor Hammoud, we have Zainab Hussein.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Mayor Hammoud, unfortunately, he wasn't able to attend today, but sends his regrets and wishes he was here with us today. I think I couldn't say it better than the previous speaker. I think we're very fortunate to have such a wonderful community that surrounds us, whether it's local government, our elected officials, more importantly, the students and the teachers, and those that keep us afloat. So on behalf of the mayor, I want to thank you all for being here and for remembering the blessed souls that we lost that day. I don't think we ever forget, but we should always remember how we can honor their spirits and the things that they believed in and did. So with that being said, always carry them as you move forward and think about things that they would be proud of, and in their name, do a good deed, reach out to a friend, and continue to work with your community to make sure that it's a safe, secure, and a tight-knit one. And together, I think we can continue to make Dearborn the place where people want to live, where people want to have fun and go to school. And with that being said, I just want to say thank you, and may God rest the souls of those that were lost, and let us all carry them with us as we move forward.
Thank you, Zainab. And now we have Chief Isa Shaheen.
Thank you for having me here today. I'll be brief, and I have some prepared remarks, and then I'm going to maybe go a little bit off script and discuss kind of what 24 years in policing has taught me. So today marks the 1-year anniversary of the tragic Oxford school shooting. Last year, a lone gunman entered Oxford High School and used a firearm to senselessly kill the lives of 4 students and injure many more. Today we remember and we honor the victims and their families, and we pay tribute to their bravery and sacrifice of everyone that day. Now, with the focus on public safety in our community and beyond, the police department is joining with our brothers and sisters in Oxford today as we remember and pay tribute to those affected by this awful tragedy. For Mayor Hammoud and myself, really, there's nothing more important than the safety of our children. No child or parent should ever have to worry about dropping their kids off at school. Under Mayor Hammoud's leadership, the partnership between the Dearborn schools and the Dearborn Police Department has grown even stronger. We will continue to partner with all of our schools to protect the safety of our students and staff. And as police chief, it is my commitment to our community to utilize all of the resources to accomplish this very important promise to the parents and children of our community. You know, the reality is for me, is I implore legislators to pass sensible gun legislation. I mean, the laws as it relates to gun ownership in this country are mind-boggling to me. I implore them to pass extreme risk laws that allows law enforcement the ability to petition the court to temporarily prevent someone in crisis from accessing guns. I ask for secure storage requirements so that certain firearms under certain conditions need to be unloaded and locked and kept away from people that might access them that shouldn't. There should be mental health prohibiting law that bars gun possession by people who have been involuntarily committed or found to be in danger to self or others. I mean, stop for just a minute. Communities have said that tobacco, vaping products, and beer is too dangerous in the hands of someone under the age of 21. But an 18-year-old can go into and buy a semi-automatic rifle. It doesn't make sense, folks. And if one thing that I have learned from 24 plus years in law enforcement is when mental health crisis and guns intersect, the outcomes are terrible. Finally, to the Oxford parents, students, and schools and law enforcement and the entire community, we stand shoulder to shoulder in your grief, and we pray for the safety of all God's children. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Shaheen. And now we have Trustee Hussein Berry from the Dearborn School Board.
Thank you, Nufaila. And thank you to the Dearborn PTA Council and their president, Nabil, for planning this vigil. Students, I don't know what else to say. Everything's been said. Thank you for participating tonight. You're very well appreciated. Dearborn Public Schools' mission is to provide an exceptional learning environment that empowers every student to succeed in life today and in the future. Part of that environment is the social, emotional, and the physical safety of our students. As a society, as a community, as school board, as educators, and most important, as parents, our most important task is caring for our children. It's our number one job. If we don't get that right, we can't get anything else right. When a mass shooting happens, there are some that want to talk about guns, and there are those that want to talk about mental health. And they are both important debates. What is the most important is that we need to figure out what is right for our children. Like Mr. Mustin mentioned earlier, it can't be just one person. It's going to have to take all of us. At this point, I'm going to get away from the politics and the philosophy and concentrate on why we are here today. Remembering the 4 families that continue to live every parent's worst nightmare. 4 students lost their lives way too early. So I want to wrap up by saying our thoughts and prayers are with the families of Madison Baldwin, age 17, Tate Meyer, age 16, Hannah St. Juliana, age 14, and 17-year-old Justin Schilling, and as well as the entire Oxford community as they heal and recover a year later. Please join me in a prayer. Thank you.
Trustee Barry's speech leads us into the reason why we're here today, protecting our students. So I'd like to introduce Thomas Besic, Aya Moghni, and Aya Bazoun, our student speakers tonight.
Hello, everyone. I'm Thomas Besic, an 11th grade student at Dearborn High.
I'm Aya Moghni, an 11th grade student at Dearborn High.
Hi, I'm Aya Bazoun. I'm an 11th grade student at Fortson High School.
Tonight, the 3 of us will be sharing the student perspective of the devastating events that unfolded at Oxford High School. I want to start off my part by sharing a poem by Amanda Gorman that reads, "School's scared to death. The truth is, one education under desks. Stoop low from bullets, where our children live. How and if." This is a sad reality of the 21st century, and it hit close to home fairly recently. The tragic shooting that occurred exactly 1 year ago today at Oxford High School in Oxford, Michigan shall never be forgotten. We gather here today not only as a reminder of the 4 lives lost that terrible day, but also to remember that no child should ever be scared to go to school. Students' lives shouldn't be risked because they seek an education, nor should the lives of teachers who give their lives up to aid in that education. Parents, too, should never be wary of sending their kids to school. As a sophomore last November, I was deeply troubled by seeing the Oxford shooting unfold so close to home. It seemed that the horror of gun violence and school shootings were closing in on me and my community. Let's not forget the effects of the violence in Oxford. Countless threats were put upon our own schools for several days that tested the strength of this community. As a community, we must stand against the horrors of gun violence. We must always be united as a community, and it should never take a tragedy to unite us. The efforts of the school administration, in coordination with the Dearborn Police Department, make me ever more relieved and grateful for the sense of safety they provide.
From 2009 to 2019, the United States has accumulated 288 school shootings. In 10 years, nearly 300 school shootings. Nothing can justify this number, mostly because Mexico has had the second most with 8, and South Africa has had 6, only with the list getting lower and lower up until the thousands of countries that have never experienced a school shooting. It seems that America is the problem. I wonder what we do differently. Is it the NRA fighting for low regulation on firearms, or is it solely sourced from students coming from dysfunctional families, obtaining mental illnesses, or simply having other psychological problems? All of the websites and sources that I have come across seem to grasp the cause of school shootings, but I am yet to see action being taken. I am yet to see people spending hours a day fighting for regulations that will ensure safety in schools across America. I am yet to see people want to put an end to school shootings, even when the news no longer chooses to make the tragic events seem tragic. I am yet to see change, but shooting after shooting, there has been none. We all want safety for Dearborn Public Schools, but no one wants to work to get us to this safety. We have to be the change we want to see. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Let us come together and not be silent about what truly matters.
Change starts and stops with us. When we stop speaking, it stops changing. But change is merely useless without companionship and understanding. Without brotherhood and sisterhood, change ceases to exist. Reasonably, you can understand how fear augments within me when the people that are a part of this companionship are losing their lives. As students, our prolonged desire is to feel safe. It is to feel comfortable in a place where we are sent to achieve the most important privilege we are enabled to have, education. When tragedies of this extent occur, our interest shifts. We are less interested in obtaining an education and become preoccupied with searching for a place of solace. We succumb to the fear that there's a chance that we could also lose our lives. In order to truly stop these devastations, we must focus on two things. Firstly, the empowerment of the youth, as they are the students who embody the soul of this shared tragedy, while being the exact epitome of those with a voice taken from them. We, the students, ignite the revolution for change within ourselves. We understand more from each other because our daily lives are more similar when juxtaposed to the lives of adults. Following the level of awareness, we have seen how brief posts on social media have affected the trajectory of a protest. So why do we not utilize this to our best extent? We will not overcome these issues without unity and transparency. As a student, I ask that every parent takes a step to welcome the discussion of mental health. I urge all parents allow their children to voice their concerns in order to stop something before it starts. I urge you make your children feel as if not only they have a place to confide in, but a person to turn to in times of hardship. Every child wants to feel heard and understood, as there is no feeling more demoralizing than feeling misunderstood and like a black sheep. Unite and break the stigma around asking for help. We should unify under one general idea, the best interest of our children. Our hearts are with Oxford High community, then, now, and forever.
Thank you. That was very strong and touching. Thank you to all of our speakers tonight and everyone that showed up. Because of the weather, people thought this would be outdoors and they didn't really want to be cold. Before you leave, please take a moment to write something on the cards at the front table. We will be sending those out to the to the Oxford School District. So any messages or prayers that you want to send out, please write them down. And I think it is time, like you all said, it's time to stop saying thoughts and prayers on social media, and it's time to start taking action to protect our students. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.